Well, it's Friday, and you all know what that means. So today, we're going to be reviewing the latest ChocoPro show 304 with three matches. We have a three-way match, two tag team matches that are going to be fun to watch. We even got two shows coming from AEW. The first one's going to be, of course, Rampage and, of course, Battle of the Belts 6. So we'll see if there's any championship exchanges in that particular one. But also, we'll cap it up with, of course, NXT Level Up. So we're going to see who levels up. And of course, we got a couple of news updates to tell what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling, such as what matches are being booked, events are being announced, the whole enchilada. So, let's get ready for another episode of Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome, everybody, to Deleted Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, their promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, let's begin with the latest ChocoPro show 304. Opened up with our first match, a three-way match. We have Sayaka versus Shin Suzuki versus Kojio from Uma Army. Now, this is one of those things about this in three-way matches. Sometimes we do see like temporary alliances happen, but however, in this particular one, Shin Suzuki tried to play the smart one, tried to see if he can build an alliance with Kojio, but it did not work. Never trust someone or a monster from Uma Army. So Shin Suzuki learned that the hard way, but Sayaka was smart enough, knows not to make deals with guys like him. So it was a pretty good match. However, I think the idea, there were moments that Shin Suzuki and Sayaka had to isolate Koji as long as possible so those two can be the remaining people in the show, but in the match. However, it did not work consistently. It was Shin Suzuki who ended up being on the wrong side of the TKO by Kojio, giving him the win. Our second match, we have tag team action. We got Mochi Natsumi teaming up with Masahiro Takanashi, taking on Miya Tsuba, and all the way from Thailand, Andrew Tang. Now, Andrew Tang, he's a bit of a outgoing individual. If you guys ever seen him, all he does is scream, and that drives, of course, Masa crazy. So basically, he's obnoxious. But I have to say, I seen Andrew Tang how he wrestles in setup, but it's amazing what he can do. I was surprised he actually made the trip all the way from Thailand, but it was a lot of fun. But the one thing that was really interesting is that Masa and Mochi were able to separate him away um, from Mia, because Mia, as you all know, she doesn't have the necessary experience in matches yet. She hasn't won a match where she does it on her own. It's almost similar to what we see with Waka, where Waka, we know she has the capability, but she is unable to pick up the win. But Mia is nothing compared in her, just making everybody out there. But however, I don't know why Andrew Tang didn't think this way, because when we see wrestlers being not a when wrestlers in Choco Pro are set outside, the windows are open. They can go around. I don't know why Andrew Tang didn't think that way, but it did allow for Mochi and Masa to pick up a win by double pinning her. And I don't know what Andrew Tang wasn't thinking, but I don't know. So anyway, our main event features Chiko Shikawa teaming up with Tamura all the way from Heat Up. They take on the return of the Best Bros. As you know, the Best Bros were here in the United States. I haven't reviewed their match they did at the GCW Collective for the Generation F. The match was pretty good, because as you can tell, like, the Best Bros are the fan favorites of Choco Pro, and I think that's something we definitely love. You probably would have think that Chiko Shikawa would have figured out every move set that, of course, the Best Bros would do, but it did not work accordingly on their favor. But in this case, we did see how the Best Bros were able to pick up the win. Balinaki was able long enough to separate Tamura away, while Meishiro was able to one to pick up a win onto Chiko Shikawa, giving them the win. So it's Best Bros hasn't missed a beat. I'm sure they'll be back on top, since we know that Balin lost the Super Asia title to Hagane Shino, but they're bouncing back the way they are. Now, as for our Junkin tournament, that was a very difficult one to predict. The Best Bros did not made it all through. But one thing that was interesting is how Mochi Natsumi was able to make it all the way to the finals, but pick up the win. So she wins the chocolate. I don't know if this is her first time or second, but who knows? I think that's pretty much it with ChocoPro. So let's move on with AEW Rampage. Alrighty then. So AEW Rampage opened up with the FTW title on the line in a false count anywhere match. Now this is basically part two between Hook and um, Ethan Page. Now, if you guys remember, Ethan Page lost to Hook thanks to the interference of Matt Hardy, who stabbed him in the back. However, this is the kind of match that you can think this is in Ethan Page's wheelhouse. I mean, Hook took the fight everywhere, but you can tell there were moments that, of course, Ethan Page wanted to put him away in every aspect, but it didn't go exactly as planned because Hook was able to apply the red rum and forcing him to tap out. But however, Hook wasn't done yet. He had one more thing he wanted to do, so he suplexed Ethan Page through a door just for good measures. So I thought that was a pretty good ending right there for them. Now, once again, those weasels from QTV. As you know, um, QT bought Cobb's some stuff, brand new car. But however, they're saying that the exclusive is this coming on Battle of the Belts. Hobbs and QT will be the brand new ROH World Tag Team Champions. Now, they see this as a way of saying, hey, we beat you guys individually. I beat you individually, so why not? But we'll see how that goes when we get to Battle of the Belts. Now, our next match, we have the JSA, consistent with Matt Menard and Angela Parker teaming up with the Acclaim, Caster, and Bowens. They take on LSJ, Bobby Orlando, and of course the Infantry. You probably can guess this match was going to fall in favors of the JSA and the Acclaim, which of course it was Mike Caster who applied um, the mic drop onto Bobby Orlando to give them the win. And then all of a sudden, when everything was all said and done, the JSA, along with Hager, uh, Menard, Parker, and Hager, attacked the Acclaim. I'm sure they're pissed because, as you know, they've been trying to recruit them to join the JSA. But of course, the Acclaim has always been playing these games where, like, we'll think about it, we'll get back to you, that sort of thing. But we're going to see them in a big feud in some way, so we'll see what happens then. Now, Swerve puts out a sort of a public announcement. As you know, he has some dealings that he wants to make in, and he said that he's merging the Mogul affiliates with someone. Now, he did not specify who, but this is probably going to be big. Now, our next match, we have Lee Moriarty along with Big Bill to take on Darby Allin. I thought this was one of those matches where Darby Allin is going to be all brutal because, as you know, Darby can take a punch. But of course, moments we see Big Bill, he gets involved in any way possible to ensure the match goes in, of course, into Lee Moriarty. But however, that did not end there. It was, of course, by in the end of this match, it was the coffin drop that sealed the deal for Darby Allin to pick up the win. However, when Darby on his way out, apparently he was being spotted by Swerve. We don't know what happened, and then this happened. Brian Cage, along with Prince Nana, attacked them. We don't know what's the significance of the relationship, but looks more this merger between the Mogul affiliates and the embassy is taking place. Um, we'll just see what happens then when we see um, after that. Now, as you know, the feud for the TBS title rages on between Jade Cargill and Taya Valkyrie. Now, for the last couple of weeks, we have been witnessing um, Jade and Mark Sterling try to prevent Taya Valkyrie from stop using the road to Valhalla. Like in the way they're treating this, like, hey, she did it first, and you can't do it. But Taya Valkyrie knows people have done it for years. I mean, we've seen many wrestlers have used the same move, but they don't call it that. So basically, Taya Valkyrie calls her that she has no respect to anything. But of course, Jade Sterling was saying that, oh, I'm gonna sue you for this. But Jade, Taya, she's not gonna give a damn what she thinks. So that's gonna be interesting. Now, our main event features Anna Jay versus Julia Hart. Now, this began a couple of weeks ago where Anna Jay attacks Julia Hart, who she viewed this whole thing with the House of Black that they don't know a thing about pain. So Julia Hart, I have to say, this was a pretty good match for Julia Hart to be in. We hardly see her in matches in Rampage or in Dynamite. We know she has competed in the either Dark Elevation or in Dark. But for her to face Julia, this was like a long time coming in some capacity. But in some moments, we did see how Julia Hart was in full control. Then it was overturned by Anna Jay. And then, of course, Julia took much control as possible. Not to mention, Anna Jay tried to apply the Queenslayer. It did not work. But there was a moment where Julia used her head by trying to bring in the chair into the ring. Referee got distracted, grabbed the chair, but it also allowed for Anna Jay not to see that the real tension was the black mist made by Julia Hart, and then it was over right from there with a with the win, and it was over right from there with the inside cradle. So I don't know how Anna Jay would feel, because if she continues this fight, I hate to see the JSA members get involved in a war against the House of Black. So that's pretty much it what we have. But before then, uh, while Julie was on her way back, Orange Cassidy shows up. So we'll get to that. So let's start with, of course, Battle of the Belts 6. Okay, Battle of the Belts. So we start with the AEW International title defended. We have Orange Cassidy taking on Dralistico of the LFI. Now we know there's a numbers games in this type of scenario. Orange Cassidy has the best friends Chuck and Trent, while Dralistico has his brother Roosh along with Preston, and of course that weasel Jose. Now the match was pretty good. However, Dralistico tried to get into the skin of Orange Cassidy, but it doesn't work that way. It's the other way around. We have seen Orange Cassidy how he gets under the skin of his opponents. But however, at some point we did notice how the fight between the best friends and the LFI escalated somewhat. But however, of course, that Weasel Jose gets involved in many chances he gets. Now, every moment where Jalisco thought he had everything under his control, it did not. Orange actually kicks out of the moves, but of course, um, Orange actually gave the orange punch to Jose so he can shut up. But luckily, he did the same thing to Jalisco, they giving them the win and retained in the title. However, we all know what happened this past Wednesday in Dynamite, where the best friends and Orange lost to the House of Black. But the obvious question did remain: Did was Orange Cassidy their intended target? Seems like it. Buddy Matthews comes out saying, "We put our titles on the line against you and your pals. Put on yours." So Matthews seems like he wants to challenge Orange Cassidy for the international title. So I'm sure we will see that soon enough. Now, during a interview, Mark Briscoe, as you know, came in a very short match. I mean, he's not going to complain or cry about the loss, but one thing he said he will do is that he will move forward. So he's right now going to be watching the backs of his buddies, the Lucha Brothers. But however, Jay Lethal said that he's willing to put whatever they had in the past. Seems like they tried to Jay was trying to recruit him to join um, Jarrett Singh, and I feel like Mark Briscoe, he's not the type who can just wants to join in who he wants. He's more. I look at Mark. He's the kind of guy that he can trust people around him. Like FTR, the Lucha Brothers, those guys. So we'll see what happens then. Now our next match we have the TBS title. Jade Cargill defends the title against Billy Starks. I have to say this is very huge for Billy. If you guys aren't familiarized with her, Billy has made a name for herself in the independents. She's a prodigy, only 18 years old, still in high school, I believe. But I have to say this was a pretty good match for her. I think in this it shows Jade Cargill underestimated Billy Starks in some capacity. Now, don't try to say, oh, she's just nobody. Billy has been through. I mean, she can bring out the match that you could not expect. But however, it didn't last long until finally Jade put the Jaded on her and won the match. But of course, once again, she's getting under the skin by Tail Valkyrie, who's getting in her nerves because she will not allow her to trying everything in her power to have her stop to use the Road Valhalla. Taya was this close in doing that, but however, it did not work out. Now, Alex Marvez does a interview to see what's going on with the Elite. Uh, Brandon Cutler, a long time in front of the Bucks, and Michael Nakasawa, a wrestler that has worked with Kenny. As you know, the entire Elite are out due to the amatic attacks that they've been suffering towards the Blackpool Combat Club. So Baron Cutler decided that he has to stand up to bullies. So I don't know if it's a smart choice out of him, but we'll see when we get there. Now our main event features the ROH World Tag Team titles, Powerhouse Hobbs and QT Marshall, along with Cameron and of course that moron Aaron Solo taking on the Lucha Brothers. I thought this match was pretty good in every way possible because it showed how that the Lucha Brothers are not going to give in to what QT Marshall is going to get. But I feel sorry for Alex because he keeps getting himself into so much beaten by every single time. But it did not stop, of course, them from winning. The Lucha Brothers were able to pick up the win thanks to Phoenix with a roll up onto QT. So basically, their little QTV headline is not going to happen. But the obvious thing is this over between them, or we'll see. I was kind of hoping that Warlow will show up to get his revenge on QT for getting involved. But we'll see what happens down the line. So we'll see what happens on Dynamite. I know we got some exciting matches taking place, but for right now, let's just end it here. Move on with NXT Level Up. Alrighty then. So who levels up on this latest episode of NXT Level Up? Let's find out. Our opening match, we have Dante Chen coming up. He faces the return of Boa, who we haven't seen for quite some time. I cannot say how long he's been out because I don't even remember. I know it has to be last year, but nonetheless, it's great to see him. Now, you probably would think this match is going to be very interesting, with Boa back in the mix. But Dante Chen, we all know he has been very impressive since arriving to NXT, and especially since he is from Singapore. Now, you probably would assume that this match will fall in favor to Dante Chen, but others would say Boa. But I feel Dante Chen, who's mostly been rising on the occasion, deserved this win because he applied his finisher, then pinfall, 1, 2, 3. It is over right from there. Now, our next match we have, of course, is Odo. Well, we had an interview with Odo Mensa, who in fact has to deal with with some setbacks. But however, his opponent he has to deal with is none other than the predictable Joe Gacy. So he's well prepared to do this, but we'll see how he goes because, as you know, Joe Gacy may not be in a good mood since he has failed to control Chase University. So we'll see about that. Our next match is women's tag team match. We have Danny Palmer teaming up with her best friend Soruka. They take on Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend. Now, we know these two teams have teamed up before on various occasions. Uh, I think Lash Legend and Jakara have teamed up. I don't know when, but they were very good. But however, I think the match fell in favor of Soruka and Danny Palmer because I did like how there was a lot of athleticnesses coming from both Danny Palmer and Soruka. Because if you guys seen what Soruka can do, I feel like Danny Palmer can keep up to her standards. I mean, I would love to see those two compete for the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. That's something I definitely could see. But however, I like how Danny Palmer was able to take out Lash Legend. Then Jakara Jackson took out Danny Palmer, but it gave a moment where, of course, Jakara did not see the Soul Snatcher, and boom, it's over right from there. So it's done. Now, our main event is Oro Menza versus Joe Gacy. Now, as I said before, Joe Gacy may be in a big foul mood due to the fact that he is not happy that he failed to obtain Chase University. So that would be a play down. But there is also the number games. Don't forget, this is prior before the Dyad announced they were released. Of course, they were going to help out in some capacity, but it was the upside down by Joe Gacy that allowed them to win. So we'll see what happens then, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of things changes when the whole thing happens. I think that's pretty much it with NXT Level Up. So let's move on to our final thing, news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So this is what we have so far. Now for our GCW updates, for the Brooklyn show is now called Fight Night. This one will take place on the 11th of May. I have already announced several wrestlers that will be making their way. Masha Slamovich is one of them. I forgot who's the other one. Mike Bailey will be making his appearance in this one, so this is going to be great. However, their upcoming show that will take place called Lifestyle in the Las Vegas shows on the 26th of May. Rina Yamashita is one of three wrestlers they announced. I did mention for the Las Vegas show, we have Maki Ito and Hijo de Vikingo will be making their way there. So it's great to hear that Rina Yamashita, and I think this is one of the dates where she'll be participating. AEW has give this interesting announcement. Sky Blue is now officially with All Elite Wrestling, or should we say she's now All Elite. Now, some of you may be confused in certain capacity. Now, Sky Blue had some sort of an agreement with them, a working agreement. She wasn't primarily a full-time member of the roster, but for whatever reason, now is the time where she is a full member. I'm glad that she is in it. Can't wait to see more of her. I know many fans are happy because we've been seeing her working her butt off on Dark and Dark Elevation, several appearances in Dynamite or Rampage, wherever you want to do it. Uh, if you guys are from the San Diego area, any of my subscribers out there, um, Crash Lucha Libre has announced that Matt Taven will be in Tijuana on Cinco de Mayo for the Crash. Uh, don't ask me if I'm going because I'm not 100% sure. Tijuana, Mexico is at times may not be a safe place, but nonetheless, uh, it will be. I'm sure that we will enjoy it. WWE, as you know, if you guys saw SmackDown, we saw Triple H made the biggest announcements. The return of the draft. It's been a while since we've seen the draft. Um, I don't know exactly what to expect, but it's kind of interesting news. But they say they will start the draft within a couple of weeks. This is going to be interesting, but we'll see what happens then. Recently, I just found these tweets coming from uh, Mariah May. Now, Mariah May has tweeted this earlier. She's saying to Trinity Fatu, or as you all know as Naomi, asking her if she wants to join Club Venus. Trinity Fatu put some emojis like a star and a heart in this. That seems like that's like a yes. I mean, I would like to see how this group, because if Naomi if Trini Fatu does go to Stardom and joins Club Venus, oh man, their popularity would skyrocket. I'm sure of it. Now, our last update, we want to give how to say, a happy anniversary to Yoshi Wrestler Momotani. I think this is her 5th year as a wrestler. I've seen Momotani when I started watching At Risk Girls. As you know, she's no longer with the promotion due to the change of direction. She is currently signed with Pure J, but she has worked with various promotions outside of Pure J. So it's great. So happy anniversary, Momotani. I think that's pretty much it right now. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. First things first, I want to apologize. As you know, this past weekend we did had the collective with GCW. I have been unable to see whatever they had already. I did cover the Bloodsport 9. This week has not been a good week for me due to the fact that I've been working my regular day job during the day. I'm going to try to make up for what I can for the GCW events that I missed out, such as the Degeneration F, GCW versus DDT, as much as possible. But also, as you know, we got Sakura Genesis taking place with 5 championship matches taking place. That is a priority to get that out of the way. I also have the NWA 312. I haven't seen it yet. It started on a Friday, but I probably will review it on a Saturday. I haven't decided yet what's going to be for the next episode due to the fact that um, Saturday I'll be working early morning. I will be off till the afternoon. It's going to be a very difficult thing for me. So as soon as I upload this video to all of you, we'll see how that goes going forward. But for now, I'll leave it as that right now. I'll probably wing it as possible. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. Mwah. And have a nice day. Bang.